Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Could Tyson Fury face Deontay Wilder in their third contracted fight in New Zealand, down all the way at the bottom of the world? It's now a possibility. So New Zealand, where I am, we've now dropped down to our lowest alert level, so alert level 1, so 4 was lockdown and then went through the levels. We've had no cases of COVID for, 3 weeks? It's a period of time. So authorities here have dropped it down. As I record, we're in the first full day of it being at the new alert level. But what that means in real terms is, apart from being advised to, certain things around, hygiene, hand washing, etc., things go back to normal. So you don't have to wear a mask everywhere. You don't have to sign in if you go somewhere. Effectively, we're back to, pre-lockdown conditions, apart from travel. And that's international travel, and I'll come to that a bit later. Because Bob Arum, he's spoken to One Sport, as has Dean Lonergan, and Lonergan is a New Zealander who's based in Australia. He's a promoter. He promotes Jeff Horn, previously Joseph Parker when he was with David Higgins and had Duco. He promoted the Pacquiao fight in Australia back in 2017. He's got an existing relationship with Arum, and they're looking potentially now at New Zealand because the alert level has dropped to level 1. Things return to normal, and you can have fans again. And New Zealand Rugby, for example, they've jumped on that straight away. So the games that are going to be this weekend will have fans in attendance, no restrictions. So for some places around the world which are still grappling with a lot of cases, or still have their numbers may be dropping, but they're still quite active in terms of the spread in the community. Not so here in New Zealand. We've had weeks without a case, and the last person who had an infected, had COVID, has now recovered. So they've said that they've effectively eliminated the virus here. So now back to level 1. No travel though, and I will come to that. But they're saying fans can be at sporting events. And Arum and Lonergan, speaking to One Sport, have said it's seriously an option now coming to New Zealand. And they even have a concept plan. This is Dean Lonergan, who's trying to entice Arum to either bring it to Australia or bring it to New Zealand. He wants a piece of that action. So what could it look like? They're talking about Eden Park, and Eden Park is the biggest stadium in the country. I think about 50,000. I've watched plenty of games there, and because they'd be putting in some seating on the field too, it may even have a bigger capacity. It's hard to say, but it would be at least about 50,000 people. It's a very good venue. You kind of feel quite close to the action. So in terms of having a fight there, I think it's a pretty good option. I've said if they were to have it there, and this was Eden Park, which was quoted by the TV news One Sport, saying that they would have to get no special consents or anything to put the event on because it's a multi-purpose stadium, etc. Bob Arum saying, yep, New Zealand is now a live option. Lonergan saying, yeah, we could bring it here and we could have it organised and signed off in 2 weeks if the government pumps in some money, the New Zealand government. So whether you want to call it a site fee or subsidising the event, or the way it was sort of pitched in the TV article was, around money that could be used to promote New Zealand to the world type thing. But effectively it is cost to offset. So we're talking it would have to be millions of dollars to get it there. So call it a site fee, whatever you want. They're looking for the government of New Zealand to put money in to secure it at Eden Park. And they were also talking about potentially if New Zealand and Australia, which obviously close ties, geographically close, relatively speaking. If there's a shared travel bubble at some point, which has been an option on the table, if that opens up, you could get a lot of expat Brits coming to New Zealand for the fight if it was staged in New Zealand, and also you could get a lot of Australians or New Zealanders who are living in Australia coming back for the fight. But in terms of other people further afield, tourism right now is closed. The border is closed, pretty much unprecedented, and it has been closed since level 4 started. And who knows when that's going to open back up. So I don't know if the government would want to put a whole bunch of money in if they didn't get, a bunch of international tourists, and I'm excluding Australia here, but coming over, spending their tourist dollars, because really that's what you'd want to put the money in for, I would suspect. We don't know, though, when is the tourism, the border restrictions going to ease, I should say. We don't know if there's going to be a shared bubble implemented in time. They're talking September, maybe August for something like that with Australia. This event, they're talking October or November. So Arum clearly is interested in this option because he's publicly, very openly said, we want to make money on the live gate, because that was a big part of the first fight. We can't leave that money on the table. We can't fight in front of no fans and just leave that. So that was almost $17 million in gate receipts. I'd imagine it wouldn't be nearly as much, remembering New Zealand has its own currency and tickets, what would they be priced at? So I don't think it would be as pricey as a Las Vegas fight, but who knows? Maybe it would be through extra seats being sold as opposed to a smaller venue of 15 or 20,000 in Vegas as opposed to maybe 50,000 in New Zealand. So there's a lot of things to mull around, but they did have a concept plan which was on the TV for a brief second, sort of, with a ring in the middle. Seemed like it was pretty sort of early stages of the thinking around it, but it's out there in public now. That because New Zealand has dropped down, and it sort of came, that whole dropping down to level 1, we're at level 2, people thought it might go to level 1, and then all of a sudden, boom, by midnight, after the decision was made yesterday, it's now at level 1, no restrictions. So maybe there will be some sporting events or other things that come to New Zealand as a result. It's hard to say, but I don't know how, given the situation in other places right now, if the border restrictions will ease too much. So it's there. What do you make of it? Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, potentially in New Zealand. Interesting other sort of side angles with that as well. Training camps and quarantining people, because if anyone does come into the country right now, it's an automatic 2 weeks where they have to be quarantined, and that's generally been at hotels. That could be something that's not exactly ideal for the boxers and their teams, but I don't know, maybe they could work around it. But what do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.